Hello, I'm Una. You're very welcome to my channel. A particular welcome to my new subscribers, but I just want to take this opportunity to say to anybody watching, I truly appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with me, and I hope you learn something and find something maybe that you'd like to try yourself in your craft room. What I'm doing today is die cutting an image as a focal point for the card, but I'm also die cutting the card base so that the image will look as if it's hanging off the front edge of the card. This is how I did it. I used my Gemini Junior, and the plates I used were metal shim, plastic shim, magnetic shim, the die taped to a piece of Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 80-pound weight card, and then I die cut that, and that is going to be the focal image. My top cutting plate is in really bad shape. It is very bowed and very warped. I can't press it flat, but it still works okay, but I really am going to have to replace it. It caused me some difficulty with the next stage. Now I'm embossing with my Cuttlebug because I have my plates taped together for the partial die cutting, and having my Cuttlebug on the side table, I was able to use it. Now I'm marking out the spot for where I'll have to place my die. Now you might ask, why go to the bother? Why not just put the focal image on the front and leave it hanging off? It's the fun of having it flow continuously. When you open the card, it's more obvious. You'd end up wondering, how did she do that? The way it looks continuous, it's just a fun thing to do. Now, this is literally rocking under my hand. It's so warped. But I managed to eventually get it into my machine, and the cracking was alarming when it was going through, but no harm done. And now I use my metal ruler and a craft knife to cut away the excess. And I have to cut all the little pieces as well where there are gaps. Now it was worth taking the trouble to do this because I think it's a really fun effect when you see it flowing continuously to the edge. Now you're on this journey with me. This is my first attempt to do this, and I could see at this stage that it was going to work, so that's why you're seeing it as a finished video. I'm using a coral red marker, CR9, just to put down a flat colour on all of the flowers. And then I come in with a CR11 in my coral range of Spectrum Noir markers to put in a darker shade. And later off camera, I did go back over the flowers and go over all of them with the bullet tip of the CR7 again. For the greens, I started with light green 3, put in the darker bits with light green 5, and then the same technique, I went back over all of the bits with the bullet tip of my light green 4, just to blend in the two shades of green that I had used already. And I'm ready for the next stage, which is the centres of the flowers, and I used this Xcut punch. It's actually a daisy punch. And I cut some scraps of yellow paper with it, and snipped those and adhered them together in different ways to form the centres of the flowers. I also die cut another flower out of Neenah Solar White and coloured two bits that I had spoiled with the dark green marker. And so I put it together. Now I do speed this up very much, and I leave out putting on all the centres of the flowers because you've seen me do it a couple of times and there's nothing new to see. This all came together very easily. Next stage, I adhered the extra bits that were left over from the extra flowers I had, the flower and bud that I had to make. and this is just going to add sturdiness to the piece, particularly the bit floating off the edge. Checking everything fits in place and using my high-tack fast tack glue again. I carefully adhere down the flowers first that are hanging off the edge. Again, it assembled with no difficulty at all, and I popped on some blocks to help it dry. Then I decided to put some gold glitter paper behind the flowers. And in the end, I was glad I took this step because it was very eye-catching. When it's standing up on a shelf, when the recipient has it on a mantle, it'll be very nice indeed. Double-sided tape on the back of that panel, and then carefully adhered it to the edge of the card. And that's looking good. Plenty of room to write a message as well. For the sentiment, I used Mama Elephant's occasional labels, Think Happy Thoughts, a very suitable sentiment for the times that we're living in. And using Versafine Onyx black ink, I use my stamping platform to make sure I get it absolutely right. But this ink is my go-to ink for this sort of stamping. I've tried other black inks with these occasional labels and they just don't work. And this one works splendidly. And I clean off my stamp really well. Because it's a sticky ink, you need to clean your stamp thoroughly. I use a misty corner there to get myself some straight lines so that I can take this to my guillotine and cut it out. And that's looking good, so I decide where it's going. And because it's been popped up on the leaves on the right hand side, I need to put some dimension on the back of the left hand side of it. So I do that with a scrap of card. And it's ready to adhere into place. And I do take some time to make sure, absolutely sure, that it's straight. I hate when I get to the end of a card and I've spent a lot of time on it and then I discover, the sentiment's crooked. But I'm pleased with this. I hope you like it too, and that perhaps you try this technique. It was great fun to do, and I really, really would recommend that you give it a try. Thank you for being with me. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would be absolutely thrilled. Some more videos will appear on screen now that you might like to watch. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you leave a comment below, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'd love to talk to you. All the best for now. Bye. Take great care of yourselves.